What's up guys, Coach Az here. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about strength training for martial arts. So we're going to talk a little bit and then I will give you an example of a workout that you can do with just a set of dumbbells. Now, if you're working at home and you've got your own weights, great. If not, then just think of this for when you can get back to the gyms, or if you can get back to the gyms and you want to figure out how to incorporate some weight training with your martial arts. But we need to have a chat about it first, because the world of weight training is a very massive and expansive world, and people make it far more complicated than it needs to be. So I want to simplify it a little bit for you, and so that you understand what to look for when you're searching for content in relation to lifting weights. So the first thing to be extremely clear on is, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve with your weightlifting? And this is where most people go wrong, because they type in weightlifting on YouTube or on the internet, and what mostly and predominantly is going to come up is bodybuilding. So you're going to find a lot of examples of workouts with sets and reps and movements that are ideal for those people just trying to build muscle. So your pure focus is on your physique, the way it looks, and not necessarily the way it performs. Now, if you're dedicated to being a great martial artist and you want to use weight training to improve yourself as a martial artist, then a bodybuilding routine is not exactly what you need to be following. The other things you might come across are things like powerlifting or strongman training, and you might hear of things like functional training or CrossFit. All of these are different examples of effectively sports that have been created out of the concepts of lifting heavy things off the floor. We want to take some of just the key principles and apply them so that we can be better as martial artists by supplementing with weight training. So to start with, when should you do weight training? It's important to try and separate it from your martial arts as best as possible. So let's say you're training 5 days a week. You might be getting to your martial arts or your MMA or your boxing class 3 times a week. On the other 2 days of the week, in a 5-day weekday, they're the days that you want to hit the weights. Now, if it's not possible because you're training more than that, then you just want to make sure that it's got as much of a gap as possible. The main reason being that if you're training your martial arts before, then you're going to be fatigued for lifting weights, and that means that you're not going to be able to put your full effort into that workout. You're not going to get the full benefits. And of course, the same is done if you do it the other way. If you lift weights and then go to do your martial arts, your body is going to be fatigued and you're not going to be able to perform at your sport at your optimum level. The next thing is, how should we go about lifting weights? How many reps should we do? How many sets should we do? How much rest should we have? There's basically 3 different ways that you can treat weight training. There's training for hypertrophy, which is the act of gaining muscle. It's building mass. And for that, you want to lift in a rep range of around 10 to 8 reps. You can go a little higher, up to 12. You could go a little lower, 7 or 6. But this rep range is designed to cause as many what's called micro tears in the muscles, so that they can be broken down and built back up bigger than they were before. You take about a minute rest between each set, again, a little shorter, a little bit longer, and in total, you do about 15 to 20 sets of lifting. So let's say you were doing a chest day, you do 3 to 4 sets of chest press, then dumbbell press, then curls, then maybe a little bit of triceps or shoulders to supplement at the end of the workout. This kind of workout is not ideal for martial arts training. We're not looking, or I assume you're not looking, to get bigger or to get smaller. You're probably looking to maintain the size you have, but develop more strength and power. So training for strength with weights, this means you're going to drop that down to a rep range of 6 to 3 reps. When I say drop the rep range, I don't mean you just lift the weights less. I mean you increase the weight to a weight where you would fail if you tried to do more than 6 reps. And we're going to do an example in a moment with an exercise. This rep range now, it doesn't cause as many of these micro tears, at least not in the same way as the hypertrophy range, but it starts developing muscular strength. And if we go below that to the 1 to 3 rep range, we're in the power range. So this is where we're talking about a 1 rep max deadlift or we're talking 2 or 3 powerful reps of a bench press, and then you stop. With this, we need to increase the rest between sets. With the hypertrophy training, we're trying to rest the least amount of possible so that we can then work on the weights again, because we're trying to get the volume in to train as much as possible, to build the muscles as much as possible. With strength training and with power training, you want to rest an awful lot more, because what you really want to do is recover the muscle and recover the nervous system as much as possible before attacking the weights again, thus simulating the way we would try to treat it in a fight. So if I was trying to hit someone with all my power, I would try to recuperate, reset myself, and then fire with my maximum capacity, both from my nervous system and my muscular system, in terms of generating force and generating power. So what do we do when we work out with weights? This is the big question. And this is where I wouldn't say there's a lot of misinformation, but it's very complicated, and people make it far more complicated than it needs to be for 99% of people out there. You'll see all kind of workouts which work one leg, work one arm, or twist with a cable and a weight and a chain, and it becomes way too much. It becomes very daunting. The reason you see a lot of this is strength and conditioning coaches need to make their money somehow. And if it was simple as do 5 exercises, do them twice a week when you can get to the gym, and you'll get 90% of the results, then these people wouldn't get jobs, wouldn't get hired, and they wouldn't be able to have their livelihood. Now, if you're an elite level athlete, top of the food chain, UFC champion, you might need these extra movements. But for 99% of you, this includes those of you that fight competitively, who are trying to become European world champions in your chosen martial art, this is probably going to be all you need. So let's talk exercise selection. Generally speaking, if we're going to lift weights, we're only going to do it a few times a week, because our focus wants to be on our martial arts. If you can train 5 times a week, I would like you to train 4 or 3 times in martial arts and once or twice in weight training. Because again, we're trying to be the best martial artist we can be, not the best weightlifter we can be. With those 1 to 2 workouts a week, you won't have the luxury of being able to split your body up into loads of different body parts. You can't do just a chest day, or just a leg day, or just a back day, because the reason for this being is by the time you get back round to that body part, it would have been 2-3 weeks, and you're not going to see the benefits. So we are either going to do full body workouts. That means we're going to do a set and 3 or so sets for each body part, or we're going to do an upper lower body split. So we will train our whole upper body for day 1 of the week and our whole lower body for day 2 of the week. You could also do a front and back workout, so everything that pushes or steps forward or moves in this direction, or muscles on the front of us. And then on day 2, a pull and back of the leg workout, pulling motions backward, pulling motions downward, hamstrings and calves. So we've done a lot of talking. Let me go through some exercise selections. This is going to be for a full body workout, but you can use these principles and use these ideas to select workouts or select exercises to build your own for your own needs. Like I said, guys, today I'm going to be doing this workout with some adjustable dumbbells. I'm keeping them relatively light just for demonstration purposes. Like I said, you'll need to adjust the weights or find weights that are appropriate for you to be able to complete the exercises in the desired rep range for the desired results. When you're thinking about your exercise selections, I want you to think about all the different ways that your body can move. Martial arts is a very functional sport, so it involves us going forwards, going backwards, extending our arm, retracting our arm, lifting our leg, twisting our body, and we want to replicate these movements as best we can in the gym. Now this is where you'll see a lot of these strength and conditioning coaches attaching a band to you, putting a chain and making you throw punches from these twisting motions with all these contraptions. We're not looking to replicate punching. We're looking to facilitate the movement patterns that support it. So punching can be thought of as a pushing motion. It's a forward extending and then retracting back motion. So we want to work exercises that push forward, and we want to work motions that extend backwards. If you're more of a wrestler or a grappler, those pulling motions, that ability to lift someone, that ability to pull them towards your body becomes even more important for you. So here are your basic movements. You need a push exercise, pushing something away from you. A pull exercise, pulling something towards you. An overhead pressing exercise. So this is pushing something up, above and away from you. In terms of upper body, they're the three main movements. We'll talk about the core in a moment. For the legs, you want a squatting movement. So a movement that with both legs requires you to squat down and stand back up. And then you want something unilateral, working a single leg. So for example, a lunging movement where one leg steps and we come back in order to reset to the starting position. Those are 5 movement patterns, and you can create a workout, 5 sets. Let's say we're doing 4 sets per exercise per body part. So let's go through and create a workout together. All right, guys, I'm starting here on the floor, and I'm going to be working my pushing movement, and I'm going to do what's called a floor press. Now, I'm at home, I'm in lockdown, and this exercise is a great way for me to train my chest safely whilst being able to load the weights nice and heavy. So it's exactly the same as a bench press. The only difference is I won't be able to retract my elbows behind my back. I'm obviously going to stop when they hit the floor. Is it ideal? Probably not. Could I do with the full range of motion? Sure. But I'm adapting to my current circumstances, and if you can only do weight training at home, there's no excuse for not getting this push workout in because you don't have room for a bench, etc. So I'm on the floor, I bring the weights up, I bring them across, and again, I'm just focusing on pushing straight up and then retracting and controlling straight down. Now, one thing we haven't spoke about is tempo. We generally want to be a bit more explosive than a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder would normally do a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 kind of tempo. Okay, so relatively slow and very controlled. What we want to look for is a bit more explosive. So we're going to go for a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm accelerating a little faster through the pushing motion, and then I'm controlling the weight back down. Accelerating through, controlling the weight back down. Now, if you're brand new to it, you might want to start with a 2-2, just to build the strength and stability before getting into the more explosive movement patterns. All right, guys, we're going to go into our pulling movement now. So again, remember, this is us pulling something in towards us or behind our body. So here I'm going to work what's called a bent over row. I'm going to show you on this side of my body so it's easier for you to see, but you're going to do this one side at a time. You're going to need something that you can lean on, which allows you to effectively bend over. I want to keep my back neutral, so I'm not curving my back like this. Trying to keep it neutral and straight. Now, you might see people doing this in a split stance, or you might see people doing it parallel together. I'm not going to get too much in that today. You pick which position feels better for you and gets you a better engagement. I'll show you in a split because it'll be a bit easier for you to see on camera. From here, starting with the weight on the floor, and I'm lifting that weight in, and I'm pulling it up and into me. From here down, up and in, down, up and in, and again, slowly down, and then I'm exploding up into that position. Controlled down, exploding up into that position. All right, guys, for our overhead movement, we're going to keep it real simple with an overhead press. Now, my arms are going to go out of range on the camera here, but I'm sure you get the idea. I'm going to take my weights, I'm going to bring them up, keep my wrists in a neutral position, so I'm not going completely sideways or completely straight, just off to a 45-degree angle. Core nice and tight, feet nice and balanced. I explode up, and I control back down. And control back down. Overhead press, guys, okay? Again, I'm working, and you'll notice my breathing was a bit clearer on that one. Breathing out as I exert myself, and then breathing in as I retract back down to that start position. Okay guys, legs are notoriously difficult to train at home. So if you're lucky enough to have heavy enough weights, you can work what's called a goblet squat or a dumbbell to chest squat. It effectively means that you're going to take one weight and you're either going to hang it between your legs and squat down from here, or you're going to bring it up to the chest and squat down from here. Any added resistance is great, and if you don't have enough weight, you can always get a backpack, try and load it up, or a sandbag, or anything that you can do to put some weight on your upper body. The important thing is the form. I'm trying to keep my back straight, legs wide apart, and from here, I'm going down to about 90 degrees and coming back up. Control on the way down and explode on the way up. Control down, explode on the way up. And our final movement, guys, is going to be a lunging movement. So particularly in martial arts, we're talking about being in a stance, standing on one leg to knee, to kick, to strike, wrestling, single leg takedowns. We need to be strong on each leg individually as well as when they work together. So from here, I'm just going to hold my weights to my side. I'm going to step forward with one foot, lunge out, step back. Other leg, lunge out, step back. And again, these weights are just hanging free and just adding some additional resistance to these lunging motions. So guys, if I was doing that workout with those 5 exercises, I'd do each exercise for 4 sets. I'd take a 2-minute rest between each set, and I'd work each set for around 6 repetitions, trying to fail on rep number 6. So lifting a weight that's heavy enough that I would fail on rep number 6. I've worked my entire body out, and at the end I might add in some simple core work with some weighted sit-ups, leg raises, or hanging from a bar and bringing my legs up and in. We can obviously create more variety to that workout, but I just wanted to give you some basics to get you started. Notice, none of that was complicated. You've probably done most of those exercises in the gym already. We've just made some small adaptations to the parameters to make it more suitable for your martial arts training. Well, guys, I'll see you on the next one.